Let me ask you one of the most important questions that you can ask to yourself in your life. What you will do when you come face to face, pound for pound, tears with tears, blood with blood, flesh with flesh, with your enemy. What you will do? What you will do when that moment, that moment for which you have been preparing your whole life, your whole history, your whole biography, when that moment is finally in the table, what you will do? What you will do when you need to face your biggest fear, your greatest demon? What you will do? What inspires you in this journey? And I know that I said only one question, but sometimes one question mean multiple questions. What you will do when you have nowhere to hide, nowhere to run, nowhere to go beside moving forward and face your enemy? What you will do when the clock hits zero? Are you prepared for that? Are you ready for your own war? Are you ready for your own battle? Well, ready or not, that moment is coming. Is coming for all, because we all have an enemy. And maybe today, or maybe tomorrow, or maybe the day after tomorrow, I don't know when, but you will face your enemy. And when that day arrive, what you will do? Welcome to the hottest podcast of all, the only podcast that gives you pure, advanced, sophisticated personal development by integrating all the dimensions that you need in order to grow holistically, like business, spirituality, leadership, sexual life, personal development techniques, philosophy, music, sound, very soon subliminal audios for personal development and expansion, archetypes, psychology. What else? What else? Welcome to your house. Welcome to your home. Welcome to your growth. My name is Dr. Derek Israel, and this is the episode 402 of the Mastermind Podcast Challenge Season 2, in which we are doing a challenge or an episode every day, Monday through Friday at 4 a.m. MST, transmitted through my YouTube channel, Dr. Derek Israel, and then posted on all the platforms: Spotify, SoundCloud, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, all the channels available. So, yeah, join us if you want to be doing a specific challenge and a specific truth that we are trying to actualize in our life to manifest and to create proactively a better life. This podcast is not for those who wait for better things to come. This podcast is for those that create, that build, that leads this type of activity, these types of results without waiting for a superhero, without waiting for anything else rather than your own heart, decision, determination, commitment, capacity for planning, capacity for making decisions, capacity for self education, and most importantly, capacity for massive execution and action. So I just want to remember to you before we head on with our subject of today that we are opening a Telegram group for people that are doing personal development. Is completely free. So if you are following this podcast and applying the principles and the techniques that I am discussing, join our free and exclusive Telegram group. The link is in the description, and you will join to a community of people that are doing the same in this level of consciousness. All right. So this is going to be a temporary chat only for the Mastermind Podcast Challenge Season 2. So if you're watching this maybe in 2025, that group will not be open anymore. All right. So what is the enemy? So before we go to the idea of the enemy, let me explain to you, for those who are doing the challenge, what is the difference between the maximum competitor versus the enemy. Both are ideas, and both are ideas that I have discussed in my podcast: the enemy in today's episode, and the maximum competitor in a previous episode, but it is also part of the challenge season 2. The thing is that the maximum competitor, if I am not mistaken, is a Spanish episode. So if you are only an English speaker, you will not be able to hear that. But if you are a Spanish speaker, you can search in my YouTube channel, Conoce a tu máximo competidor. In English, that will be get to know or know your maximum competitor. And you can hear and study that idea profoundly there. But there is a very important distinction between them that I want to make clear before we head on with our subject of today. So when we are talking about our maximum competitor, we are talking about the archetype of the adversary. We are talking about a spiritual idea. We are talking about your own ego as a thing that is always trying to sabotage everything that you as a spirit, not as an ego, you as a spirit are trying to do. So that is your maximum competitor. It's always yourself. It is the entropic forces of yourself manifested in an archetype, entropic forces being those forces or natures that you have that tends to destroy, that tends to create chaos, that is entropy. So when we are talking about the maximum competitor, we are talking about something very similar to the devil or to Satan or to Mara or to Seth as the dark gods, or those spiritual creatures or mechanisms, if we can say that they are mechanisms, which they are not, but those spiritual mechanisms that are influencing your spiritual warfare for you to fail. Okay, so and basically the maximum competitor is an idea that I took out from the Kabbalah system, which is a mysticism of the Jewish tradition. So it's natively, I have my beanie back. It's natively a spiritual idea in essence, right? In essence. But today's idea, sorry for you guys that are only listening to this, I am trying to accommodate or fix my beanie. It's a little bit weird. Anyways, you can live with that. Um, Now, the idea of today, I call it the enemy. Very similar to the maximum competitor in terms of language, the adversary, the competitor, the enemy, but it's a different idea. This idea is more psychological instead of spiritual. This idea that I will present today is more like a fantasy that you will build, more than a spiritual experience that you can feel. You can feel the maximum competitor. You can study him, right? If you go and study the dark forces of spirit. But the enemy is just a narrative. It's just a psychological engineering kind of imagination that we are doing to motivate ourselves. So the maximum competitor is more like a spiritual idea that can spiritualize reality. The enemy idea is more like a motivational idea that can give you energy when you are feeling down and when you need to wake up and go and work very hard in your life purpose, in your art, or in whatever big cause you are working towards. Okay, so this is more like a motivational kind of tool that I will be presenting to you today. All right. So, also, I want to mention that this idea of the enemy, I took it out from one of the most powerful philosophers alive today. His name is Joko Willings, and I have talked about him before in some episodes that I did in Spanish back in 2020. I made one that is called Discipline Equals Freedom in Spanish. Disciplina igual a libertad, por si lo quieres escuchar. So this is not the first time that I talk about him, but just a small biography or a brief biography. He's an ex-Navy SEAL that he fought in one of the worst battles in Iraq, United States versus Iraq, in Ramadi. That was a very hostile town in Iraq. And he fought there. He fought like 10 years with the Navy SEALs. So he's a pretty badass. And then after he retired from the military, he has been actively doing podcasts, doing books, writing books, speaking, conferences, and philosophizing in a lot of um, subjects, including leadership, motivation, discipline, mindset, warfare, and a lot of good stuff. I definitely recommend you to look for Joko Willing. And so this guy have this idea about the enemy, right? But we have another artist that I also have mentioned him before in my podcast, that he's called Akira the Don. And this artist, what he do is basically he takes good ideas and good speeches of people and he mixed that with music. And he took out this idea of the enemy and create an amazing song that through that song was through that song I got to know this idea. So I link that song in the description below. It's a 5-minute song and it will be totally worth it for you to listen to that song. So after you listen to the podcast and after you digest the idea of the enemy, go into the description below and watch the song. Look for the link. You will be directed to a YouTube video. It's a 5-minute video, and you will listening to the song, and you will cement better the idea because always we can cement better the ideas with music. So yeah, cement it intellectually with me here using normal language and podcasting performance, but then go and listen to the song, listen it, and check out Akira's work. I already have an interview with him, not scheduled because we are having problems with establishing a common date. But yeah, very soon I will be interviewing Akira the Don, the artist that I am recommending to you right now. So now let's go exactly with the idea. What is the enemy? What exactly is the enemy? Well, the enemy is a philosophy or a lifestyle or a thought experiment that you will be doing for the rest of your life. Okay, so this is basically a mindset, something that you will bring to your mind in certain moments. When? Well, I do it almost every day, but it works so much better when I am down, when I am low energy. I bring this idea up. I interact with this idea in my mind and in my spirit, and I can um, subtract a lot of energy from it. I can absorb a lot of energy from it. So now in psychology, we have these categories that we call levels of intervention. So if we have a patient that maybe he's very normal, but he's asking, like, his mental health is good, but he's asking to see a psychologist because he has X or G problem. We call that a low level intervention, right? Because we are gonna just talk with that person. Probably we will give him a technique to do a breathing exercise, but since he has a very good mental health overall, we are not attacking his psyche with everything that we have. That is a low level intervention. So then we have like a medium level interventions, and those are designed for people that maybe are not suicidal, they are not in an active crisis, but they are feeling maybe a couple of symptoms of their depression or anxiety, and they are struggling. So when we come and talk to them, we proceed with a medium level intervention. And in this type of interventions, we may establish a long-term therapy with them, and we may establish and recommend a couple of techniques, and maybe we can also recommend, I don't know, maybe an assessment with psychiatry and a lot of different things that are more medium kind of intervention, not extreme, but medium. And finally, we have high level interventions, and these are reserved for people that are suicidal or that are in an active threat for others. So, with these people, we do stabilizing techniques. Maybe sometimes we proceed with the help of a psychiatrist in order to um, give medication to this patient just to make him stable or make her stable. Also, we proceed sometimes with the police if we need protection, or officers or nurses. And sometimes these levels of intervention requires hospitalization and long-term treatment, intense treatment, and a lot of stuff that we can call high level intervention. So why I am telling you this? Sorry, guys. Well, I am telling you this because in personal development, we have all these techniques that I have been discussing with you, that I have been teaching to you through the years. And basically, I have 502 ideas, different personal development ideas for you that you can go and explore if you are bilingual. If not, you at least can explore the Spanish one or the only English ones. Um, but not every idea is a high level intervention or a medium or a low level. We have a repertory of ideas here that we can use in different stages of our life. So I will say that this technique is a low level intervention of your personal development. Maybe it will function, or maybe it will work a little bit in medium levels of intervention in your personal development. But for high levels of intervention, for example, if you are suffering an existential crisis, this probably will not work. If you are trying to get out or to transcend an addiction, this probably will not work. For those type of high level problems, you need high level interventions, more like a meditation, yoga, extreme breathing exercises, deep psychotherapy, deep journalism, spiritual retreats, things that are more extreme. But maybe let's say that one day you are a little bit down, a little bit depressed, a little bit tired, a little bit bored, a little bit disorganized, nothing too crazy. Just those days that, man, you are not in the zone. Well, those days, give me just 1 second because I have my throat. I need to clear my throat. All right. This weather in Arizona is changing from cold to hot and is giving me a lot of problems to my throat. Also, my wife, my baby girl, my daughter, we are all coughing all day, like weird weathers, man. Anyways, this idea will work for those days that you can do a low level intervention with yourself, like a mini coaching, like a mini self coaching kind of therapy. And then you will be able to, to resolve what you need to resolve. So the whole idea is basically to imagine, and this is very important. It's an imagination. This is not something real. You don't have an enemy that really exists in existence. This is just a thought experiment in which you will imagine that someone in life, someone in the world that we will call for now on the enemy, has your exact same desires. And this enemy has exactly your same hopes for your life, dreams for your life, ambitions. He or her wants exactly that that you are so connected with, that you are so in love with that idea. That enemy also wants that. But there is a problem with this enemy, with this imaginary folk. And the problem is that this enemy never rests. Hmm. This enemy never gets tired. This enemy of yours has infinite discipline. Hmm. Interesting. This enemy of yours has infinite tenacity, persistence, strategic thinking, and massive execution. This enemy of yours never rests. And he's working exactly for the same thing that you are working towards. And one day in this imagination, in this story that we are inventing in our mind, one day you will meet with your enemy face to face, pound to pound. And depending in your level of training, preparation, rehearsement, um, rehearsals, your level of mastery, expertise, self-domination, depending on your level as an executor, as a manifestator, depending on that level will depend the result of your encounter with your enemy. Now, in Joko's mind, in this philosopher that I was talking about in the beginning of the podcast, this enemy obviously is a soldier because he's a soldier. And remember, your enemy has your same ambitions and your same desires and your same drive. So he was always thinking one day I will be in X or G place and I will face my enemy. I will shoot against my enemy. We're gonna kill between us. We're gonna kill uh, ourselves, between ourselves. We're gonna kill each other, right? So yes, but that is a very war-like mindset, and you may be not a soldier. You may be a normal human being like I am. I am not a soldier. I'm a psychologist, entrepreneur, podcaster, artist, right? So I know that my enemy, he will not grab an AK-47 and shoot at me because I am not shooting AK-47, right? I am not doing that. I don't do that. At least not for now, right? And so I know that my enemy, for example, in my personal case, well, my enemy, if he wants the same as me, probably he wants to create a movement that actualize the consciousness of the world. He wants to create very mesmerizing art through podcasting, through videos, through writing, through music, through books, through performances. This enemy of mine, he wants to impact psychology in a very deep, deep level. He wants to create a, a very special metaverse. He wants to create very special NFT collections. He is creating those. Um, this enemy of mine is striving to create the most innovative podcast in the world. He's striving for um, becoming the best person that he can be every day for his students, and he's doing that with a lot of tenacity. So why or how I know that those are the things that my enemy is doing every day? Well, because those are the things that I am doing every day in a certain capacity, in a certain power. And if my enemy is just like me, he's thinking those kind of things. But how is your enemy? That is the real question. Because you are a whole different man than me and then Joko or everyone else. So there's a good term in physics that is called antimatter. Antimatter. And basically, one of the ideas in this philosophy is that every subatomic particle have kind of the same particle manifested, but the whole opposite, like a sad copy, but of antimatter. So we have these particles in matter, but matter, right, have an exact copy of itself in a no materialistic kind of realm. And there's a very important idea, contemporary idea for physicists. So go and study what is antimatter. Now, with this idea, we can believe that everything that exists in your reality, it has an exact copy of it in another reality, like a movie. Yes, like a movie. A lot of movies have been inspired with, you know, thanks to this idea of antimatter. A lot of like alternative universe kind of movies that people like cross each other in the universe, and how the hell you are me? No, like I am yourself. No, I am myself. What? Like for example, in the Spider-Man movie that get intercrossed, stuff like that. Well, those are multiverse theories mixed with a little bit of antimatter and a little bit of other things, right? But you get the idea. So if that idea of antimatter is truth or is true, well, your enemy really exists somewhere in another dimension. Maybe you will never see it. Maybe he's not a human being, but in a certain kind of weird way, maybe as an idea only, that type of corpus, that type of entity exists. And that is all that you need to know, that someone or something with your same desire exists, and not only exists, but is relentless in the pursuit of your own goals, is working without resting while you are procrastinating, watching Netflix, taking a time, just taking a relaxed time, as your ego always tell you, as your maximum competitor, always looking to sabotage your work, your development, your art, always tell you, take a break. You can take a day. Why not? Watch a Netflix TV show instead of reading that book that you know that you should be reading to understand this imperative skill for your life purpose, or instead of going to this event and doing the network, or instead of buying and doing this course that you know you need to do to progress your spirit, forget about the course for now. Go and watch the TV show. Whenever you are doing those things, whenever you are distracting yourself, your enemy is working. Now you are starting to see the power behind this idea. Your enemy never gets distracted. Your enemy is getting tougher and tougher and tougher every day. So, are you following up with him? Are you setting the mark? Are you setting the standard in that imaginary war? Or you are just indifferent about it? Like Napoleon Hill said in Think and Grow Rich. Indifference is, and this is I am rephrasing. He didn't say this quote by quote, but he said something like, indifference is the assassin of big dreams. If you are indifferent to life, life will be indifferent to you. Money, success, achievement, happiness, enlightenment, art, these big values come from to those that actively look for them, search them with desire, with plans, with action, with decisions. And your enemy is taking those every day, 24/7. And one day you will meet. And what you will do then? So let's say that you're a musician and you're a rock star. Well, you have the enemy. You have someone that is also a musician, that also wants your market, that have your same style, your same lyrics, but he's working as hell. And one day you will both be on a stage together. Who will shine better? Who will be the predominant being there? Who will be the alpha? That is the real question. It depends on your work, depends on your discipline. So, where is the enemy? Where is it? Is him on a cave? Is him in China? In Russia? No, he's in your heart. He's in your imagination. He's wherever you want him or her to be. This is the pretty thing about this idea. You are the master of your enemy. You can decide if you use him or not. And you always decide where this enemy is. But I just want you to be mindful. Don't turn this into a psychotic belief system. Don't turn this into a paranoid belief system. You know, this is a mature idea that always you will have the meta consciousness and the meta awareness. Beyond awareness, meta is beyond. You will always have that realization that, hey, this is just an exercise, this is just a thought experiment. So the enemy is everywhere and the same time is nowhere. It's always in your imagination and always in those miraculous spaces of your heart. So what the enemy is doing, you may ask, what he's doing? Well, he's always doing the same thing, bro. He's preparing, training, and getting ready for the encounter that he will have or she will have with you. Who is your enemy? Your enemy is whoever you want him or her to be, also. So let me give you some examples. Sometimes I use it as a definite form in the sense that, okay, I imagine like a Derek, like an antimatter Derek, maybe in, I don't know, maybe in Japan, that he's doing a podcast just like me right now, but he's doing it with 100% motivation. So I am here in Arizona, and maybe that day I have 75% motivation, but I am thinking about the enemy, and he's doing it like that, and he wants my place. He wants my Spotify place. He wants my Toby Rabbit. He wants everything that I have been building, and I am bringing to the table a 75% motivation? No, hell no. I'm bringing everything. You are bringing 100%. All right, bro, I will be bringing 200% then. That is the idea. Sometimes I imagine him to be very similar to me physically, but sometimes I turn the enemy into a thing and into a concept that is different than a human. For example, sometimes, and I was doing this a couple of days ago. So we are now living in these current times, the Ukrainian versus Russia war. And one of the things that I have been researching a lot, maybe this is not a good idea, but I have been researching, I have been guilty of this sin. It's not a sin, right? But I have been researching a lot about, the politics in those countries, but also the military strategies and nuclear kind of technologies. What is exactly a nuclear bomb? How they work? How to prepare for a nuclear attack and stuff like that. Survival stuff that I have been researching just to be able to protect my family better in case that an emergency happen whenever. I am not saying that will happen. It will probably never happen, hopefully, And this is just preparation to be ready, but it's not, I am not attracting these, hopefully, and I am not creating these, hopefully. This is just preparation, right? And so what I started to do a couple of days ago is turning the nuclear bomb as the enemy. So it goes like this: if a nuclear bomb is coming to my way anywhere, anyways, right? This is imaginary. It's just a thought experiment. It's just experiments to promote, facilitate motivation, and a lot of resources of inspiration and drive, right? So I was thinking, if a nuclear bomb is coming my way anyways, why I am not executing more rapidly to manifest my purpose more definitely with the little time that I have. So I start using the nuclear bomb as the enemy. So when I was feeling a little bit distracted, I thought, well, maybe the nuclear bomb will come tomorrow. And I have that song that I am composing in my laboratory that I'm still working on, and it's not finished. So let's go and finish to see if I can publish that and to share that art with the world, to share that love with the world, to share that consciousness with the world, because maybe I die tomorrow. Or maybe this is, for example, uh, when I was deciding which episodes to bring this week, I thought maybe if the nuclear bomb is coming, which I have this long list of episodes that I want to do uh, for this podcast, like I don't know, maybe like 100 episodes or more, like a big list, and I select from them, right? Week by sorry, week by week, I select 5 of them. So I ask myself, what 5 episodes I really need to share? I really, really need to share this idea with the world because I know it will be so helpful for people. So I selected um, how to become a light prism, you know, the other episode about between A and B, choose C. This about the enemy. Tomorrow I come with, I don't remember exactly. I know that Friday I come with an episode that is called Why Reality is Becoming a Video Game. It's a very important idea. And what is the one of tomorrow? Let me check real quick just to forgot. For tomorrow is yeah, beat the hell out of the imposter syndrome. So tomorrow we are going to be talking about the imposter syndrome, a very fundamental idea for people to work with. So I used that idea of the nuclear bomb as the enemy to drive the inspiration to organize this podcast for this week because it made me connect with values. It made me connect with priorities. It helped me to make better decisions more efficiently, more quick, and more determined. This is the power of this idea. So the enemy, you can establish that your enemy can be for a season, maybe for a couple of days or for weeks. Maybe the enemy is Putin, the president of Russia, or maybe your enemy is China, or maybe your enemy is your professor if he's giving a very big exam. You can think about him building the codes to make you fail that exam, and you are in your own life trying to make that not a reality, to make that not happen. And yeah, that is basically the idea, folks. The enemy, you can play with the enemy. You can put a circumstance as the enemy. You can put a time frame, a certain date, a certain day. I don't care what do you put. At the end of the day, this is just imagination for your own motivation and for your own drive. So how this actually works? Well, this activate your competitive spirit. This activate your competitive centers by collapsing this idea of an adversary or an enemy as a definitive form. Human beings, we work so much better when we know what we are and what we are not. We can call that endo group versus exo group, and this is social psychology 101. This is a very fundamental aspects of social beings. We need to understand that we are fighting against something, a certain group, a certain country, a certain individuals, movements, because yes, and at the end of the day, we should aspire for cooperation, and at the end of the day, we are just one. Metaphysically, we are love. That is not in question. But also, we have a lot of resources of competition inside us. It's like a very flavored competition soup that we can always eat from our own soul. And when we are eating that competition soup, man, we are in our best. Think about a moment in your life when you had a clear competition against someone, and how did you perform? How did you train? How did you prepare for that? If you was about to compete against a basketball team, or maybe against a boxer, or maybe against a dance team, or whatever you was competing on, right? So that is the power behind this idea that activate all the competitiveness that you have inside. And this is a good thing. And remember, this is an egoic technique. So be careful. Sometimes you need to drop this technique and just love everything, including the imaginary enemy. But sometimes when you are in your day and day life, day to day, use this technique real quick. You will not spend a whole hour thinking about the enemy. Please don't do this. You know, I implement this technique maybe once per day, maybe once per week, sometimes maybe one per month. I just think about it for 2 minutes, and I then go right to what I need to do. If I need a more high level interventions, well, then I do a meditation or I do another thing. But this is more like a quick thing in a quick day, in a random day that you want to capitalize that day, and you can use that technique for this purpose. So what you should do, basically, you should ask yourself in a certain random moment what the enemy is doing right now. Hmm. And you imagine what he's doing. And then you can ask yourself, what can I do today, right now? What can I do right now to prepare for our counter, to prepare for that moment in which we are gonna meet face to face, and I need to combat him or her. What can I do? And your mind will give you very rapidly the idea, because your mind will get a little bit paranoid. Your mind will say, you need to do this and you need to do that. You need to prepare this area and you need to get more stronger in this area and you need to develop this new skill and blah, 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 blah. And then you will have a roadmap and then you will organize those ideas in a plan and then you will follow that plan and then you will fall off the plan because that's what humans beings we do. We fall off. But then you are going to come back and you are going to stick with the plan because one day, boy, you will face your enemy. And what you will do? So for now on, you have a direct challenge, my friend. And the direct challenge is the following: you will create this enemy and you will nurture this enemy. You will cultivate this idea and you will let that this idea drives the fire of competition, of predomination, of leadership that you have inside your soul, burning the hell out of your doubts, of your fears. And you will go all in each day because one day is inevitable, my friend, that you will face your enemy. Please remember that you can hear to the song just to cement, just to materialize better this idea. The link is on the description. Do not forget to share also this podcast with a friend or in a group or in your social media. To leave a comment if you find that it's a good idea to share your thoughts with the community, with people that are going to be watching this podcast for a long time to come. Maybe if you give us your thoughts about this idea, how you will apply it, or what you took out of it, that always help, and I will always answer you. So please leave a comment below just to share a little bit of our love and communication. Also remember that you can go into the description and support this free podcast in Patreon. With just $5, you can give us a little bit of support, and also you can get access to exclusive material by becoming a Patreon supporter, and that link is on the description. And finally, let me tell you that the enemy, your enemy, is always working to manifest your life purpose because it's your antimatter, right? So you have your exact life purpose. So when you think about, I am sorry guys that I am looking for an exact banner, this one. So your life purpose is your reason why you are here, the reason why you are still fighting, why are you still in the game in your life. And this is the thing that will motivate you and will inspire you to continue moving forward, even in your darkest times. I have gone through a lot of dark times in my life. And not only in my life, but during these 5 years, almost 6 years, that I have been sharing content with you guys, I have gone through a lot of dark times. And my life purpose is the thing that always bring me back to the camera, to the podcast, to the 502 episodes, to my art, to my heart, to my compassion, to working with you guys for free sometimes to help you, you know, is my life purpose what really give meaning to my life. And I want to help you to find your own life purpose, because by combining your life purpose with this idea of the enemy, you will have two great anchors for eternal and infinite motivation in your life. And now, life purpose, this is a high intervention. This is a high intervention technique, because when you think about life purpose, you can get out of existential crisis, you can get out of very dark times in your life. I have done it before, and I have seen this before with patients and clients in coaching and psychology. This works. Create a meaningful meaning, transform into a life purpose. This is the one of the most important life that you can do in your life. But combined with the enemy and thinking that, hey, maybe the enemy have my same life purpose, and you know, that will get a synergistic component to your whole effort. So if you want me to guide you step by step into connecting, discovering, and manifesting your life purpose, go to the link below and go to where it says all promoted, and there you will be accessing to my courses. And I have a program that is called Manifesting Your Life Purpose. Right now it's only on Spanish, but I will be translating this in this month. Like in March, I will launch the English version. So probably at the time that you are listening or watching this, I already have the English version and also the Spanish one. So go check out all the information and take a decision. And remember that the enemy is already taking the course.